What's going on, guys? We're going to recap what's going on right now with the NASDAQ 100. Before I get into the technical analysis, want to make an announcement. I am running a 30-day boot camp where you're going to be able to live trade with me, where I'm going to share my screen. You're going to be able to talk with myself and the other members. I'm limiting it to 15 people. That way we keep it close-knit. Every single session will be recorded and it will be uploaded into your private channel so you can go back and review it. Also, you can talk, you can listen, you can text, whatever you want. You can just sit back and stay quiet. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go over my thought process. That's going to start in pre-market about 30 minutes before the New York session, and it's going to run just about until lunchtime. So it's going to be a 3-hour stream each and every single day for 15 students every 30-day rolling period. Now, what we're looking at here is the NASDAQ 100 futures. We're looking at the 5-minute time frame. There's a few levels here, a few key areas on my chart that I want to go over. Coming into today's session, looking at the overnight price action and what we were doing, essentially we were channeling, right? We weren't really doing a whole lot where it looked like the market wanted to severely push down or higher. That was one thing that I kind of made a note of during this morning's live call. But one area that I was focused on here is this, very lime shaded or fluorescent green line here. This is your daily 5 SMA. Okay. Now this level here, normally when we're trading above the 5-day moving average, 5 SMA, I want to be a little bit more bullish until we lose that area. Okay. Now it doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity to short, especially with the ranges being the way that they are. But I want to, I want to be very mindful of that daily 5 SMA. Okay. And you can kind of see here in the pre-market, you can see here off the open, we came down and tested it once, had a very nice bounce, came just shy of it, had a nice bounce, flushed it, and then had a recovery where we had this very nice bounce. So that's definitely an area of interest that I was focused on this morning. Now, if I zoom in here and we kind of go towards this market open, the opening 5-minute candle was right here. Okay. So this opening 5-minute candle was a little bit of an indecision candle where it looked like the market wanted to push down. We know we've got this daily 5 SMA here acting as support, kind of pushed up a little bit, failed to get above the overnight session highs, pulled right back to it. But one area that had my interest here was if we, sort of back tested this area and got below this structure, I wanted to be short. Okay. So we made about $800, $700 and something here on this potential move here. This pullback, market open, we allowed it to bounce. We allowed it to pull back. We allowed it to try to make that attempt to bounce. But once we failed to kind of break through and push higher, and once we started to see the pullback here, what I then went and looked for here was a flag. Okay, so this flag pattern here is the short position that I took, and I got short here and started to scale in. Now I started off with 1 micro contract, immediately started to throw on 2 contracts at a time, all the way up to about 6 or 7 contracts as this move started to flush. Full intentions getting out before we hit the daily 5 SMA. Why is that? You never want to be short into demand, okay? Because what could happen if you're going short into demand? If you're going short into demand, you have a very high probability of getting trapped. And I don't want to be trapped. So I want to always make sure that I'm selling into supply. I'm selling into demand, okay? If I'm in a position. So with that being said, with the ranges being so large, if you look at the entry price that I'm getting in at right here below 18,431, from 431 down to this demand zone, down to this daily 5 SMA retest, the price is about 314. So from 431 all the way down here to about, let's call it 320, guys. We're talking about almost a 120 point move. So when you start dipping your toe in the water and you throw 1 contract and the price action starts to speed up and it starts to move a lot faster, and you load in 2 more contracts, 3 more contracts, your P&L really starts to jump, especially when things are moving 20 points in your favor, 40 points in your favor, 50 points in your favor, 60 points in your favor, right? So with that being said, you want to sell into that demand, allow this to consolidate. Now, The next move that I would have been looking for here is if we would have broken down here, kind of flushed this daily 5 SMA, put in a lower high and then lost a low of day, we would have been full short here to the Asian session lows down here at about 18,068, and then yesterday's lows, which is down here in this zone. That 100% was a thought process there. One thing that I was kind of calling out here is once we kind of put in this low, put in this, and we were pushing higher, I said this could potentially be a inverse head and shoulders if we can get a pullback that does not break the lows. Okay, that's on the video recording, guys, for you guys to go over and watch. Definitely recommend that if you do join the mentorship program, make sure you guys are rewatching those streams because it's going to be highly beneficial. So once we pulled back in this zone, clear opportunity to get long here with minimal risk. And what I mean by minimal risk is once you start to put in this higher low and you looking at this, what seemingly could be a little bit of, you know, an inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's not the cleanest of an inverse head and shoulders, but it resembles an inverse head and shoulders. Okay. Now, once you start to get some green candle closes and you push out of the range, right, out of our demand zone, okay, this is where you can fire a long position, right? So when you fire this long position here or even here, what you're using is a previous swing low as a stop, right? That's going to be our max pain. That's going to be our you know, we got to throw in the white towel. If you want to give it a little bit more risk, you can definitely use that 5 SMA as a max pain or anything below low of day. Now, what I would recommend is because this move is barely forming, it could have a potential to chop around for 5, 10, 15 minutes. So you don't want to just jump in here with multiple mini contracts, okay? Because the reason being is if this is whipping around on you 30, 40, 50 points, you're going to get chopped up and you're going to get stopped out. So definitely start off by dipping your toe in the waters, adding one contract, and as it starts to push up, maybe you can add another micro. And, you know, once you kind of see us break a previous swing high, you can add another micro. And again, those original stop losses, that original stop loss, that original max pain that's down here, you can then start to trail, right? You can then start to trail your stop loss up here and then here and then here. But truth be told, because of the range is so big, like the entry price here at around 400, so, you know, anywhere getting in on this reclaim, you know, you're talking about between 380 and 400. You know, this 5-minute candle was 125 points. Okay. So realistically speaking, even if you're trading, you know, 2 or 3 micro contracts and you're able to pick up 80 points to 100 points, you're potentially talking about a $400 to $600 move. Okay. And realistically, if you're trading the prop firms, that's more than enough to kind of build upon to where you can get your evaluation passed in a week or two. If you're in a funded account, that's more than enough to get your payout in 10 days. Okay. So that's a one and done type of trade. Even the short position that I took through this flag pattern here, right? A little bit of a sweep, hold that demand, lower high, and then a breakdown, failure to break above. That momentum was short. Even this trade here went for about 100 points. Okay. So like this was a one and done trade. And that was one thing that I kind of made, you know, very clear this morning on the mentorship live stream was that realistically right now, we're not looking to take a dozen trades. Okay. What we're looking to do here is kind of sit on our hands, be extremely patient, play this price action and try to catch one move to where you can walk away, right? Where you don't need to sit there and try to hawk a bunch of different trade setups. Okay. Now, even if you're trading one micro and you're giving up this as your stop loss, right? This is your max pain and you're firing your longs here on this potential bounce. We don't know how high it can go. I mean, it definitely could have came here and put in a lower high and then kind of just lost this area. In that particular situation, we got to just bite the bullet and take the loss. But if you're kind of trailing, right, and you're actively managing your trade and you kind of move your stop loss to somewhere around break even, you could potentially start targeting each one of these swing highs. Okay, so take profits here, or take profits at that overnight session high. Now that would, you know, you would have to have a lot of patience, right, to catch this whole move. But the move was there, right? There was no reason to kind of get out here or no reason to get out here, no reason to really get out here. Your stop loss is break even. you are grinding in the right direction, you do have a potential target that you could take, so what we need to try to focus on currently is trying to capture some of these bigger moves. Okay, it's going to help your P&L, it's going to help your sanity, because when you're constantly, let me go short, no, I've got to go long, whoa, hold on a second, market's bouncing, let me go back long, you're going to drive yourself nuts, right? There's only one real move that's going to happen in the day, and today's real move was, and to be completely honest, right, we're going to trade the facts. What did the facts tell me? Today off the open, we pulled back into the daily 5 SMA. That's a strong level of support. We bounced. We pulled back once more, put in a higher low, and then we just grinded into the overnight session highs. Okay, that's it. Did we really trend to the upside? No, absolutely not. We're well below yesterday's high. Did we really trend to the downside? Absolutely not. We're well below yesterday's low. Essentially, today was one big channel, so one big range where we kind of started off the day towards the bottom of the range, traded in the middle of the range off the open, and then back tested the bottom of the range, and then just grinded higher, right? So we basically traded from the bottom of the range to the top of the range, and now we're here, and now we're kind of consolidating right around this overnight high, right? Pre-market highs. So one thing that I would be looking for right now is, being that we did break that overnight high, this is a break, this is a retest, perfect retest. If this can continue, right, and we can continue to push out of here, this is a long. Your stop loss is right below here. Okay, that's it. Now, if you're a little hesitant about taking these type of trades and you're waiting for maybe the short, what you would need to see happen is a lower high get put in, and then we would need to lose this area. Okay, and if we lose this zone, right, if we lose this zone and market price action comes back here and tries to trade into this resistance, this consolidation zone, and then fails and loses it, you're going to get some type of flag pattern. You're going to get some type of definitive setup that you can potentially go short and try to target the moves coming back down to some of these prior swing lows. Okay, that's how you're going to play this price action. That's how you're going to make a lot of money in this market right now, is by trying to identify some of these larger trends and kind of sticking on the boat for a little bit more of the ride, right? You're not going to want to jump on the train and then just jump off at the next stop. You're going to want to ride this baby for a little bit of time, because you're trading smaller size and the volatility in the range is so big. We don't need to necessarily sit here and try to put on a lot of size and try to take 5 points. And, next time we take a trade, it's a loser and we give up 20 points and we're constantly always backpedaling. What we're looking to do is trying to make money with the house. If the house is going to grind a little bit higher, then I want to grind with the house and make money going higher. If the house is showing me that the market is weak and we're losing areas of demand and we're back testing and we're failing to hold those areas of demand, well, I want to make money going to the short side with them. If the market is going to trade inside of a range, right, which right now we're kind of trying to break this range and continuing to grind higher, but let's say, for example, this move does not take out this high and it continues to fall below this demand zone, then I want to make money with the market as it consolidates back to support. Does that make sense? So if you're interested in trying to trade, bigger moves, and you're interested in trying to get the fundamentals down of trading price action and remaining more patient and stopping the over trading nonsense, join the 30-day mentorship, guys. It's on Mondays, it's on Fridays. I will probably, when we fill up to capacity of 15 people, I will add in a Wednesday. I will record everything. You will be involved in the live trading sessions. You will be able to communicate with me over the phone, over the PC, via voice or chat, and we can answer any questions, right? We can try to get some evaluations passed. We can try to get some of these prop firms funded accounts to pay out, and more importantly, we can learn a little bit together, right? You can have an opportunity to hear other people's struggles and problems, and you can have an opportunity to hear my opinion on how I would personally, deal with a lot of these struggles. Because again, remember, we're all the same. We all have the same troubles. I have the same problems at times, over trading or trading too much size or this, that, and the other. But the thing is the 12 and a half years of experience of trading allows me to kind of clip the mistakes in the butt early so I don't continue to make them day in and day out, right? If I make a mistake, that's fine. We can, you know, wash it away and we can get right back to our job. So with that being said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys do want to join that mentorship, that link is down in the description box below. Also, you can use code DAnthony at Apex and daytraders.com for the best discount available on your evaluations. Also, if you want to try out Top One Futures, Project X platform, definitely recommend for the lockout feature. That link is down in the description box below. And I'll see all of you guys on the next one.